Good morning, everyone. This is Julie McDonald with Microcom Technologies, and I'd like to thank all of you for attending today's webinar with PoE Texas. Today's host is our good friend, Tyler Andrews. He's their CEO, and he'll be presenting today. If anyone has any questions, as you all know, please submit them in the question box so that Tyler can answer them at the end of today's presentation. Tyler, thank you so much for being with Microcom again today. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time. Looking forward to what you've got to share with us. I am finished for now. Please go ahead and take it on over.
Thank you, Julie, and thank you to everybody out there who's joining us today on the web interface. I'm really excited to be here. We're going to be refreshing a training on the fundamentals of Power over Ethernet. I hope I can provide you with some new and, most importantly, interesting information about PoE. So let's kick this thing off. As Julie said, my name, I'm going to turn that off. As Julie said, my name is Tyler Andrews, and I'm going to give you a quick introduction about myself for those of you who haven't met me before here on the webinar, and why you should invest the next 20 minutes in this training. So I've been the CEO of PoE Texas for 6 years now, and that's kind of jumping to the end of the story. So imagine me as a young, fresh-faced engineer that just graduated from the University of Texas at Austin. And there I am, wrong side, there I am. Canada, at what was the largest company in the world. I dropped out. I joined a little Austin, Texas, that had 7 people working in their van from home on indoor skydiving wind tunnels. 8 years, 56 operating employees as the vice president of construction to pursue my own adventure. So I took over a small startup tech firm called PoE Texas. I'll get that out of the way because it's right in my face. PoE Texas. As a company, it's been around since 2011, but a good share of that time, it was kind of the second love of a previous owner. However, as a project manager and a developer, I could clearly see the potential of the combined power and data of Power over Ethernet. So I took over in 2016, and we started building on PoE technology and the powerful reputation of world-class service that we had to create a suite of products and services focused on the PoE market for intelligent buildings. The way I like to tell people, think of us as your PoE expert. And that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. What is PoE and how to get the most out of it. I'll start by saying that I love Power over Ethernet, PoE. I know it's what I do for a living, but really, how cool is it that you can take an Ethernet cable you have on your wall or in your wall and get it to power up cameras, iPads, computers, even your building lighting system? I see PoE as potential. Okay, that is an engineer joke, potential voltage, I know. I couldn't resist the nerd joke, and I'll warn you, for those of you out there who haven't seen these webinars before, they keep coming. So let's learn a little bit more about what PoE is.
Ethernet, or PoE, is combining Ethernet data and power into one Cat5 or Cat6 cable. But what does that really mean? And why is that important to you? Let's start at the beginning. You've seen an Ethernet cable. It's how computers communicate with each other over wires. Now imagine if that cable could also provide power to your device like a phone. One Ethernet cable combines safe DC power and data. In the beginning, PoE worked with IP phones. Then over time, PoE started running security cameras, Wi-Fi access points, and more. Now, millions of devices all over the world use PoE. But why? PoE is global. PoE is the only universally accepted power standard. You don't worry about hertz or volts with PoE. It works the same way in Tokyo or Tulsa, New York or New Zealand. PoE is the same no matter where you are. PoE is sustainable. Because PoE combines both power and data onto one cable, you use 60% less copper and 100% less steel conduit. You reduce your carbon footprint with each PoE device you use. Also, because PoE is already direct current like every microchip on the planet, you reduce conversion losses, making your power work more efficiently. Added to the intelligence of Ethernet, that means you save as much as 40% in energy using PoE. PoE is safe. Because PoE runs on inherently safe DC power, in most places you don't even need a license or even a permit to install it. PoE is affordable. By running just one cable without conduit, PoE reduces the total install cost of equivalent non-PoE devices by 30%. What can you do with PoE? Power over Ethernet lets you make your spaces smarter and more intuitive. By installing Ethernet cables that don't require conduits and electricians, you can quickly and affordably make your check-in kiosk, conference room signage, and point-of-sale stations as smart as your new iPad or Surface Go. Get classrooms ready for students with safe wired power and data for laptops and Chromebooks. Convert office spaces and classrooms to intelligent lighting and blinds that respond to daylight and better respond to occupant needs while saving energy. Deliver on the promise of smarter, more sustainable spaces. All on one network with the intelligence of the internet, the real Internet of Things. If you're ready to do more with power over Ethernet, reach out to speak to one of the PoE experts at PoE Texas today and learn how you can innovate with PoE.
Julie, I just hear somebody typing away in the comments section of this video. If it's so cool then, and it does all these amazing things, why don't we see this all of the time? Well, I blame it on it sometimes sounding a little too technical because it does have something to do with computers talking to each other. That's the Ethernet part. Can't get rid of it. However, in the case of the pros probably attending this video, its full potential is not understood because most likely you haven't seen the advances that the technology has now enabled, new profitable opportunities. Well, I hope that ends today. We help a lot of people find the right PoE solution. And believe me when I say it's definitely something you should get into. To get us all on the same page, why don't I start with some basic terms and principles? Then we'll blow your mind with some new tech that you may not have seen before. I'll start with power over Ethernet. I'll start with power, excuse me. I'll start with power over Ethernet, or PoE, in an easy to understand way, even if you've never worked on a network before. What does power over Ethernet or PoE mean? Working from the ground up. Another engineering joke for you guys out there. PoE simply means putting electricity onto an Ethernet cable with a data signal. Now, what's important here to distinguish is it's not just any data signal, and it's not just any electricity. It is industry standard, and I'll come back to that. You can use that electricity to power all kinds of things: cameras, lights, Wi-Fi access points, iPads, phones, TVs, computer, media players, Raspberry Pis, blinds, shades, access control. Once you get into what you can power with PoE, it goes deep. Now remember, I told you the standards thing. The standards thing is really important when you talk about PoE because you can put all kinds of data and all kinds of power onto an Ethernet cable and it could still be proprietary. Think Profibus, think Modbus IP, think PoH. Those are all types, they all use the same Ethernet cable, but they're not industry standard. Now let me help you out a little bit with that industry standard thing. It's the IEEE thing. Yes, and I'm pronouncing it correctly for those of you who are curious. It is IEEE. IEEE is where the standard comes from, and it tells you a lot, and it guarantees universal compatibility. If I were to try and put it in a simple way, you have a very smart guy making cameras, somebody out there, and then you have another smart guy, kind of like me, thank you, making devices that can power those cameras over a network cable. To make sure we all work together without having to constantly fight over things like, what's your communication protocol? What kind of power do you use? We all called our friends at the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineer, and it's pronounced IEEE, and asked them to help us create a standard way of doing things. They agreed, and they added us to their 802nd section, part 3. Now, there's a whole bunch in the 802nd section. There's a lot of standards. There's standards on data communication protocol. There's standards of power protocol. All of that is in the IEEE 802.3 standard. And I'm going to tell you, you should totally read it, because power and data get together in the end. I know, another bad engineering pun. In all seriousness, that standard, both for the data communication and the power, is how engineers agree that PoE will work. So we both make devices that can talk the same PoE. Now, as time passed, we kept coming up with more and better ideas, like faster and more power. So now we have expanded the standards, and I'm going to show you the range of standards that you can find and the kind of products in those standards. So sit back, relax, and just bask in the glory of it. So, by the way, I always start with the value proposition. And so the question is, what's in it for you? And since I've never met anyone who went into their boss's office and started with the pitch, well, I don't know what we'll do with PoE yet, but I think we should make all of our networks PoE. We'll figure out what to do with it later. Never happened. Let me take you on a tour of what you could do with PoE that you might not expect. Oh, wrong one. Here we go. Let's get this started.
I want it. I want it. I want it. Want it. I want it. I want it. Want it. I want it. I want it. I want it. I want it. Want it. I want it.
This is the new, upgraded, more advanced than ever GAT USB-C PD. The all-new aluminum enclosure comes in brushed aluminum or black and provides more heat dissipation capability than ever before. Smaller and designed to fit in tight tablet enclosure spaces, the new version 3 GAT USB-C PD now delivers blazing fast USB 3.0 data. That means you get gigabit network data right to your iPad, Surface, or Samsung Tab, along with our industry-leading Power over Ethernet to USB power delivery technology all on one cable. You can run graphics-intensive media remotely for digital signage, remotely store media content, or operate your own NDI streaming studio using your tablet devices. As we speak, take you through step by step on projects to do the things we showed on our video with turning an iPad into a conference room scheduler, or how to make a conference room scheduler, how to wire up and program a lighting system. All those are going to be available through the PoE Academy. PoE's powerful stuff, and with that, I'll close with the immortal words of Stan Lee. With great power comes great responsibility. So I'm going to pause here, Julie, so that I can turn it over to the audience and see what questions y'all have for me.
Thank you so much, Tyler. I appreciate you getting back on the screen. We had a frozen moment, but we're back on track, so thank you. And I do have some questions for you. Okay, let's get started with the first question. Can you discuss any initiatives your company is involved in related to sustainability and green technology?
Are involved with our are Title 24 compliant in the state of California. We do qualify for the smart lighting incentive programs offered by most municipalities. I'll give you an example. Austin offers you a 30% rebate for the cost to install at your commercial facility an intelligent lighting system. We qualify for that. And we qualify for a lot of other federal grants and initiatives because of sustainability. So if you're out there asking yourself, is this thing sustainable? The answer is yes. It is 30% less, or sorry, 60% less copper, 100% less steel conduit. So it's a very easy conversation to go into customer or owner site and say, hey, would you like to do something sustainable? And that 30% savings that was mentioned in the video, I share that with people. Usually customers aren't asking you for that 30% savings. They want all the advantages of the smart building technology. They love finding out that it's sustainable because it's less copper and less steel, and they're willing to pay the same price for that, equivalent price. So from a profitability perspective, in addition to the sustainability, you could take advantage of that as a contractor and owner by deciding how you're going to split that with the owner. But in terms of like official sustainability, we do qualify for all of them. We don't have like a specific sustainability program or organization we're a part of yet. That's a good suggestion.
Thank you so much, Tyler. Your audio is just a tiny bit choppy. Let me just go right into our next question. Here we go. Can you provide insights into your roadmap for the future developments or expansions of your PoE product line?
Well, I can't give any industry secrets. I mean, I can't disclose all the amazing, cool stuff that we're working on. But what I can tell you, I can give you some like information. We have been expanding our line of switches and our line of network management work to be able to incorporate other manufacturers as well as incorporate more of our hardware. Things that I know you're going to be seeing from us, definitely more PoE lighting and PoE automation accessories. I could tell you we're coming out, this is a fun one, we're coming out with a very low cost PoE Plus lighting driver where the pricing is designed to really blow people away. So that's coming out. More switches with more power, more injectors with more power. People want more power. I wasn't kidding when I said more power. So you're going to see more power coming through the network cable or more power on each of the devices. Yeah, and the networking hardware. So you'll continue to see more of that development in terms of networking hardware, more power, more lighting controls, as well as continuing to develop our patented USB-C technology.
Tyler, thank you so much. It sounds like we have some stuff to look forward to in future webinars. Of course, as you roll things out, as these things become available, that's when we can talk about them in future webinars. Yeah, industry secrets. I don't know where we get those. No problem. Thank you, Tyler. A couple more questions. Here we go with the next one. Can you discuss the potential cost savings associated with implementing your PoE devices?
Ooh. I'm contemplating that because I'm gonna throw one number. It's an anecdotal number. Now I'm not gonna discuss any other brand names, but one of the big cost advantages is because we focus on PoE and because we do all things PoE. We can do everything from the PoE switch to the end device. We sell cables, we sell networking hardware, we sell power devices. We can sell it all. What's unique about PoE Texas is we can price our products so that they're competitive across the board. What I mean by that is we don't have to make all of our margin and all of our business on one specific product. And I use that to give this example. Our 24-port switch that does 90 watt per port, all port, every port, layer 2 managed switch with a web interface retails for less than $2,000. I'm happy to say that. That's publicly. You can go on any website and find that. One of our friendly competitors sells a similar 24-port switch. When it's configured to do 90 watts per port, every port, the reseller price, not the list price, the reseller price is 10 times as much. And we're shocked to find out about that. I mean, from our perspective, we're like, wow, that's amazing. But it gives kind of a flavor of the kinds of savings and the kind of price point that we're working on. And I apologize, Julie, is my audio back? Am I doing okay?
Yes, your audio's good. Thank you.
Okay, sorry about the audio issue. But yeah, so price-wise, competitive-wise, we are significantly less than the PoE competitor market. But the real competitor that we face is not doing it with PoE. The easiest decision you can make is just not to do PoE and to go about it the old-fashioned, traditional AC way. And what I can tell you is just across the board, whether it's putting in a camera, putting in an iPad, putting in a whole building automation system, we're seeing the savings anywhere from 30 to 50%. And I could say that very authoritatively because we have a cost study that was done by Resorts World in Las Vegas. They took a 250,000 square foot conference center and they lined us up. They had traditional AC fixtures, just straight dimmable or on off. And they compared us in costs. And then, by the way, we kept the same light fixtures. They got to keep the exact same light fixtures, but then they used our system to get full automation, touchscreen controls, dimming, color tuning, RGBW, remote access, the whole works. We were 30% less in that apples to orange comparison. We were closer to 50% less for the whole project installed. And this was based on a contractor pricing it for the owner that they'd sign their name to. When you put the control system on and got a true apples to apples, we were closer to a 50% savings. We got that study published on our website. You're welcome to come take a look at it and see what you think about it. But it was an interesting analysis. Like we knew the 30% savings, but to have it so forcefully confirmed by an electrical contractor, this was bid by a union contractor in Las Vegas. That was impressive.
Thank you so much, Tyler. And my next two questions are probably most likely you could divulge more in future webinars, but let me try this one because somebody here is asking about all kind of stuff that you may not have ready to go yet. Here we go. This question is, can you discuss any future partnerships or collaborations that your company has with the PoE technology space?
Ooh, well, that is a great question and one that I can very easily answer for you, Julie.
Right.
PoE Texas is a founding member of the PoE Consortium. So the PoE Consortium is an industry organization. You'll kind of notice this running theme of industry and standards and organizations. We're all about being compatible. So we're part of the PoE Consortium. We're founding members of the PoE Consortium, and I sit on the board. And it's about promoting and standardizing on Power over Ethernet for smart buildings. And that's fantastic. A lot of the major manufacturers are there. Molex is there. I'll throw out some other names. Mecco Shades is in there. Somfy is there. PoE Texas is there, Innovative Lighting, MHT, Superior Essex. There's a lot of names. We're already up to 45, approaching 45 members, from designers to contractors to manufacturers, cable manufacturers. We're all there, and we're there in a very positive and forward-thinking way, because we believe in the technology and we want to be able to promote it and help overcome some of the misinformation or misunderstandings of the technology and how you can take. The other big thing about the industry organization, one of the things that people come to me about often is saying, oh, well, Tyler, what happens if PoE Texas gets bought out by somebody? Your product line changes or you decide not to support something. What happens to me? I'm putting it in a building. And it's a very good question and an question. And one of the things that I point out is, number one, by being part of an organization, or by the virtue of choosing power over Ethernet, especially that IEEE standard, you have already by far the most universally compatible product, and other members of the PoE consortium have signed their names to say they will use the industry standard. And that's really important, because anybody who's part of the PoE has made a commitment that their infrastructure, data communication, and power protocols are all industry standard. There may be some minor software differences between us, and those we are working as an industry organization to integrate and make that even easier. But in terms of a lighting, automation, control system, there is, and I is out there. Go to the based TCP/IP protocol on the IEEE standard. So anyway, wrapping that all up, the PoE consortium is an organization built around that idea of universality, standards, and a collaboration of all the major manufacturers. Make sure you and your owners are getting the most compatible, reliable, and long-term solution, because it's not just a PoE Texas product now, it's a PoE Texas in the PoE consortium product.
Thank you so much, Tyler. One last question, but before we do that, can you double check audio at your end again? We were dropping out, but then you came back again. And if there's anything you can check on, that'd be great. But anyway, I have one last question, and this is something that you could probably discuss more at our next webinar, which I'm looking forward to. And of course, the question is, can you discuss any upcoming product releases? I mean, you talked a lot about what you're working on for all of your PoE devices, and it popped up again. You've touched on it, but I'll let you have, like the last word on it for today.
Sure. So if you're keeping an eye out, layer 2 PoE managed switches with our management software overlay is definitely coming out. And they're built, designed, and focused on building infrastructure. So those are really exciting. We're looking forward to them. A few other things like a PoE managed relay system that uses Power Ethernet and network communication that you can access from anywhere, even a web page. That's coming out right now. The very affordable PoE lighting devices, they sell them as we'll sell them as kits. They come with an LED driver, a light switch to control it that's wireless and battery free, and lights. And you just plug it into a PoE Plus switch, you start turning it on and off with the button, and it's done. And it's going to be a very straightforward, very affordable solution. Those are three options that I think are very exciting. In our USB-C lineup, we're doing a PoE++, a 90 watt to USB Type-C power and data solution. Same form factor as our V3, but we've managed to squeeze in even more power and even more capability so that you could do laptops. They'll power up full-size laptops. They'll power up full-size devices. It's a very exciting type of product that does gigabit data. So I think those, if you were watching us for the next 6 months, you're going to see those products coming through and becoming more available, as well as, I should also point out, if you haven't seen recently, we've now started selling our own patch cables, EC cables, Ethernet terminals, RJ45, what I'm talking about. With the goal here is we want to be able to offer you an end-to-end solution that's industry standards based. You don't have to use us, but you also know you can go to one place, find the things that you need, and get your project done.
Thank you, Tyler, so much for answering all those questions. Everything you mentioned looks so exciting. And of course, when we touch base with you in a few months, for our next webinar, we're looking forward to even more incredible and wonderful news. So Tyler, thank you again for all those questions that you've answered. And also thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. And if anyone has any further questions, please feel free to contact your sales rep here at Microcom at sales@microcomtech.com. And if you wish to view any of the products mentioned or shown here today, please remember we have recorded this webinar and it will be uploaded to our Microcom YouTube channel later today. Everybody, have a fantastic day. Tyler, appreciate it as always. Looking forward to the next one, as I keep saying, because I am. I'll reach out and see what we can do about that. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.